The Cannon Fire podcast is powered by PewterReport.com. Pewter Report prides itself on being the most complete, comprehensive news source covering the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and delivering inside scoop on the team found nowhere else. If you want to be the first to read about breaking news on the Bucs, the inside scoop on what's really going on in one Buc place, and want more in-depth coverage and unmatched draft reporting than other sources offer, you've come to the right place. PewterReport.com, the official partner of the Cannon Fire podcast.
Yeah, big nasty Hall of Fame Tampa Bay Buccaneer fan, baby. Cannon Fire podcast, brother. If you ain't watching, you ain't listening, and you're missing out. Woo!
It is first down and goal from the 5-yard line. Pass toward the end zone. Fade route. Caught ball. Touchdown Tampa Bay. Mike Evans. Bucs lead 6-0. Again, fire those cannons 6 times.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? We are live on YouTube for the first time in a long time. We're going to give this a shot. Haven't tested it out in a little while, but we are going to go live on YouTube for today's episode of the Cannon Fire podcast. You'll also be able to find it on iTunes. Episode 26, it's basically going to be the mock draft episode. We're going to break down what we think the Bucs are going to do here in a couple of days. We're going to do it live with you guys here tonight. Welcome back to the show. If you're new around here, I'm your host, Rhett, and joined alongside me, as always, my good buddy and co-host. You can find him on Instagram at BucsFootball. Evan, how are you doing today, man?
I'm doing just fine. Really excited for what's coming later this week, and as our guest has been, of course, I've been busy the past couple of days, so I'm expecting it to heat up a bit more in the next 48 hours or so.
And ladies and gentlemen, we are not alone here to talk about what we think the Bucs are going to do in the NFL Draft. Joining us is Pewter Report's very own Trevor Sikkema. Trevor, welcome back to the show. It's always good to have you on, man. I'm glad you're a steady guest with us here, but welcome back to the show. How you doing?
No, it's good to. It's always good to talk to you guys. So I appreciated the reaching out and getting to talk to you before the draft. No, it'll be fun.
So as Evan had brought up really quick, you know, you're a pretty busy guy this time of year. You had mentioned to us before the show you love this time of year. There's a lot going on for you, but can you just kind of give us a glimpse as someone who does this full time? I mean, how busy are you right now?
Yeah, I mean, this is a big time of the year. Not just like for me as a fan of the NFL draft, and obviously it's my job to cover the Buccaneers as well as I can. But there's all kinds of stuff going on. You know, this is around the time of year when different outlets, different writers, and places that I know and I've connected with, you know, they want to do collaborative stuff. Like, hey, if somebody's ever doing a guest mock, they're like, hey, do you want to pick for the Bucs? All this kind of stuff, which is great for me because it actually, you know, the more I get to talk to some of these other writers and reporters of other teams, whether they're hosting mock drafts or whatever it is, the better I get to understand what possibly these other teams might be doing. Therefore, I might have a better idea of what's going to happen with the team that I cover. So, it's a busy time of year. I'm doing that for, really the last 2 weeks here, and obviously this week's the most busy because we're coming down to crunch time. But that's the cool part about getting to do this and the busyness of it is that, yes, you're busy, yes, you're doing a lot of work, but I'm learning so much from outside of the scope when I'm getting involved in this stuff. And, hopefully it helps because the information, the little studies that I get to do, where I think people are going, hopefully it benefits you guys and Bucs fans everywhere. So it's a good kind of busy.
And we are very, very excited to be with you here tonight, Trevor. And ladies and gentlemen, everyone watching is on YouTube as well. Now, before we kind of jump into this segment here where we break down what we think is going to happen, a funny tidbit of news to bring up and something I don't know, I don't think we could get out of here without talking about it, but the recent developments involving the Bucs in the draft have revealed, and my source here is Greg Allman, basically says NFL announces that a parrot, yes, a living, breathing animal, will deliver the Bucs' third-day draft picks to an announcer on the pirate ship at Raymond James Stadium. And this has been kind of floating around my head since I've seen it. I don't know what to think of it yet. I kind of wonder how it's going to work. I mean, what do you guys think?
I know that all the teams kind of try to do something a little quirky for day 3. You know, day 3 is a really long day in the NFL draft. You know, like you've got 4 rounds that you've got to go through, and basically nobody gives a crap anymore. So
yeah, because nobody knows who they are.
Right, basically, and so like you gotta throw some kind of, you know, pizzazz in there or whatever. I know Travis was the one who did the pick last year. He butchered Stevie Tulicolavatu's name, so that gave us some entertainment. I'm just kidding. I love Travis, but this year they replaced him with a parrot. So I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you, Travis.
My biggest fear is that. It's something. It's a cool idea, I guess. If it's done right, it can be cool. But I don't think there's any way we can escape this without it just being really corny and
100%.
The laughing stock of the NFL.
100%.
Like, I thought we finally lived down the eating W's thing. I think we have had a good laugh. I think we've all made some jokes about it ourselves and laughed at ourselves. But we can't keep doing this. I mean, we can't be in the spotlight for the wrong reasons.
Let me tell you, the eat a W thing. That's not going anywhere because the Bucs haven't even started to win yet. Okay, like they got made fun of for the eat a W thing, and they were losing games. Just wait till they start winning games, and then all of a sudden, you know, the Bucs, even if they make the playoffs or something, you're going to see the team that they play against, whether they win or lose, that thing's going to come back. I have no idea when eat a W is going to go away.
Are we going to see, like, flags showing up at tailgates?
Oh, my gosh, yes, absolutely. There's going to be shirts made.
I'll jump on that,
Oh,
man.
yeah, 100%.
It's a good marketing 100%. Scheme. You better invest in it now, guys. So, here we are. It's the big moment. We're here to basically tell you what we've been thinking all this time. We've got a very special guest with us, Trevor Sikkema. If you're just joining us here on YouTube, we're going to break down... I guess we'll call it the Cannon Fire Podcast mock draft. It's not going to be a full round mock draft. We're just talking about the Bucs, as you guys are just as concerned about the Bucs. So here we go. Evan, you were the mastermind here. Explain what's going down.
Okay, so basically what we're going to be doing here is this is what I believe is going to happen based on what I've read, based on what I've heard from some people, just what I think is going to happen. I'm only going to be doing 3 picks, which is rounds 1, rounds 2, and 4, because the Buccaneers do not have a 3rd round pick, even though I do think they're going to try to get back into the 3rd round somehow. I do think they're going to try. Light has done that almost every year, so I would expect him to at least try it this year. But yeah, I mean, so if you basically, I'm going to give the pick, and then I'm going to ask around and see what the guys think of my pick. And you know, I mean, Trevor is the draft guy, so he can give you a more detailed analysis of the pick. But if we're ready to go, I'll make my first pick.
And really quick, just keep the people waiting a little bit longer. We kind of had an issue with this on our last stream, and we never addressed it. We will be fielding questions and anything in the chat. I don't want people to feel like they're being ignored, because last time we had a lot of people leave upset. So just be patient with us, and we'll do it. I didn't mean to cut you off, man. I apologize. So the first pick, the Buccaneers mock 1st round pick here on the Cannon Fire Podcast. Evan.
Well, I think I wish we had draft music queued up. That would have been nice. Oh well. With the 7th pick, I believe that the Buccaneers are going to take Derwin James, safety from FSU. I am saying this because I do not believe that Bradley Chubb, Saquon Barkley, or Quentin Nelson are going to be available at 7. I believe that if any one of them are available at 7, I believe that they would be the pick. I think Nelson is the most likely to be there out of the 3, with Chubb being the least likely. And I mean, I think Derwin James, I think it's a good pick. I think it fits what the Buccaneers want to do. Derwin James has got that that swag to him. I think he can be a really strong leader on the defense, and I think he complements Justin Evans pretty well. I'm going to throw this one to Trevor. Trevor, what would you think of the Derwin James selection?
Yeah, I think it's. I mean, if you're doing a predictive thing, this one certainly makes sense. You could see it playing out like this. But I gotta say, man, about a month and a half ago, I kind of put my foot down and I'm like, look, I think Saquon Barkley might be there at 7, and here's how. I'll just kind of run through it, and here's the chance, because I don't think Quentin Nelson's going to be there. So the only player that I really think could mess up the Derwin James pick is if Saquon is there. So here's the thing. Number one, I think Cleveland's going to quarterback. I still think they're going to Sam Darnold. We've heard all the smoke screens we can hear. We're going to hear more over the next couple of days. I still think they go Sam Darnold. Number 2 is the Giants, right? So we already know that the rumor came out that the Giants denied a trade request from the Jets, who before they moved up to number 3, tried to get up to number 2. The Giants said no. I believe multiple first-round picks were involved, maybe I think their first this year and their first next year. And so they had to settle for trading to number 3, which they were able to get up to. Now we've also heard that the Buffalo Bills have been trying to trade up to number 2 overall, and it's been reported that they have offered the 2 first-round picks this year and their first-round pick next year, and the Giants have still said no. Dave Gettleman may have done some questionable things, obviously, for him to not be in Carolina anymore, but I can't think he's that dumb. And if you are not taking a trade for 3 first-round picks, the only position you could be taking is a quarterback. I mean, especially in this draft class. If you are taking a running back, hypothetically, with 3 first-round picks, as many people think that Saquon Barkley might be to the Giants, that is almost general manager suicide to me. That is crazy for you to do that. So I've got to think that because there have been 2 huge trade offers that they have said no to, and they're still not willing to budge, I really do think it's a quarterback. So I think it's going to be a quarterback there, quarterback to the Jets. Then we get to the Cleveland Browns. Here's the interesting thing about the Cleveland Browns. Okay, yes, they would want Saquon Barkley. It's reported that they like Saquon Barkley, as does everybody. But it's between Saquon Barkley and Bradley Chubb. Now here's the interesting thing with the Cleveland Browns. They already have a top 10 paid running back on their team. Carlos Hyde is right now the 8th highest paid running back in the NFL when they signed him. If they draft Saquon Barkley at 4, he then becomes the 4th highest paid running back in the NFL. So now you have 2 of the top highest paid running backs in the NFL on your team, which financially is just irresponsible. That's not how you manage a good salary cap. So I think where, yes, the Cleveland Browns would be interested in Saquon Barkley at number 4, financially they have set themselves up to where that doesn't make any sense. You would rather pick the pass rusher with that money. So I think that all comes into play as well. So they could be picking Bradley Chubb at that point. Then there's a chance the Denver trades down. I'm not so sure they pick Saquon Barkley. I think they would pick Quentin Nelson there. Then the Colts, obviously, we're hearing Roquan Smith or Tremaine Edmonds would be the pick for them because they love both of those guys. And here we are. Saquon Barkley sitting at number 7, and nobody thought it was possible. But I kind of laid out how it might be. But I do think, to your point, Evan, unless all of those stars align, something might get snagged in there where Saquon goes earlier, and I think Derwin James is ultimately the pick. So there you go.
Well, I mean, just to your point, you don't think Darnold's would be going 1 in your case. Mm-hmm. What quarterback would the Giants be taking? Rosen? Because it's like Darnold, but I don't really know that they like anybody else.
I think Rosen. I really do. The Rosen talk has been so weird this offseason because it seems like every team is trying to play against the narrative. Like some teams might want to steer away from him because, whatever you want to say about it, he's opinionated or he wouldn't fit with the culture, blah, 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 blah. The kid can play, man. The kid is good. And I can't think that a team is just going to outthink themselves into Josh Rosen. So I really do think that it's probably going to be Sam Darnold, Josh Rosen, and Baker Mayfield. And I really do think that Josh Allen in all of this has been a pawn. Not that I don't think that Josh Allen's going to go decently high. I still think that he is. But in terms of the top three, I feel like Josh Allen's been a pawn in this whole brigade. Thursday could roll around, and I could be way wrong on that. But I just have a hard time thinking a guy with Allen's his lack of big wins, his lack of statistical production, you're going to take that guy at top three. Man, that's a big risk, especially for a team that obviously needs to win now. So that's kind of my thoughts. I do think that it would be Rosen at number 2.
Yeah, I also think Denver ends up trading out of that pick. I think Buffalo, because Buffalo's desperate. I think Buffalo ends up moving up. So, I mean, yeah, just like you said, I mean, that could affect the Barkley thing big time. Because if Denver trades out and Buffalo takes a quarterback,
right,
then that leaves Quentin Nelson for the Colts, and that still leaves Saquon Barkley for the Bucs.
Right. And so that's just kind of some legit. That's me thinking logically about it. And we all know that the NFL draft is at times very logicless about how some teams get desperate with the exact guys that they want, willing to trade up, willing to overpay. Oh gosh, all that kinds of stuff. So, yeah, I think that there is a better. I'm just saying all this to warn people. There is a better than 0 chance, which some people are thinking, that Saquon Barkley could be a Buccaneer. There you go, and that's kind of how I kind of lay it out in that way.
Now,
yeah.
This is my response to Evan's pick, but Trevor, I gotta ask you something, and it kind of leads into what I was gonna say. You had talked about the Stars pretty much having to align a certain way for Saquon Barkley to fall to 7 at the Bucs. Now, at that point, there's a lot that needs to happen. Like you had brought up, it isn't a 0% chance by any means, but I'll believe it when I see it type thing. I mean, I'll be the first to say I'll shit myself if it happens.
Sure.
But when you look at the big three and you look at Bradley Chubb, what do you think the chances are there? Is it more realistic of a situation? I mean, compared to if Saquon falls to 7?
Nope.
I think with Chubb, it's as close to 0 as you can get, just because he's a pass rusher. And like, if you have a free spot, almost a best player available, you're going to take the best pass rusher in the class. I think that there's too many spots where he could go. I think that he could legit go number 2. I think he could legit go number 4, number 5, or number 6. So when we talk about, stars aligning for Saquon to move down, you can come up with an argument
over what
for
where.
For a running back to not go that high. You can't really come up with an argument for any of those 4 teams to not pick a pass rusher as long as they're not picking a quarterback. So that's kind of my thoughts there. I think that Bradley Chubb, that's about as pipe dream as you could get. I think the Bucs would love to get him, obviously, but I don't see really much of any way outside of a miracle that he would be there at 7.
And I think it's one of those things I really just don't want to admit. I was on Team Bradley Chubb for a long time. And I still kind of am, and like I said, I don't know if it's something I'm comfortable to talk about yet because I'm still hurt. But I liked Bradley Chubb, but bringing in a guy like Derwin James, the next best option, kind of leading off of what you had said, Evan, I wanted to bring up what I talked about last week, and what we had touched on for a minute was you bring in a guy like Derwin James, you're killing 2 birds with 1 stone, because as we talked about, lining him up against Justin Evans, it pretty much brings 2 practical needs to the backfield that aren't exactly there with any of the matchups we have right now. And we had mentioned Derwin James, his sideline to sideline speed, and Justin Evans, or not sideline to sideline speed, I'm sorry, the finishing plays aspect to it. I'm a little backwards here. And Justin Evans, he can basically come up in spots that Derwin James physically probably wouldn't be able to get to. So I just wanted to bring that up again and I guess bounce off of what you said, but good pick.
No, I think Derwin James would be a good pick, man. He really would. You're talking about, we've talked to some people who are close to, some operations with the Buccaneers, and they've emphasized more this week than anything else, getting a Pro Bowler at number 7, getting a good player at number 7. And we've heard them, some people have talked about trading back. I don't really think that's going to happen because the Bucs truly believe that the top 5 players on their board, one of them is going to be available because one of them is not a quarterback. So I think in order, the Bucs' big board really would go Bradley Chubb's number 1, Quentin Nelson's number 2, Saquon Barkley's number 3, Derwin James is number 4, and I think Vita Vea would be number 5. So they know that one of those players is going to be there at number 7, and I think they're going to pick one of them at number 7. I don't really think unless only 2 quarterbacks go in front of them and their phone starts ringing off the hook with trade offers. I think it would take a lot to get the Bucs out of the number 7 overall pick. I know I'm one of the people that love the idea of them trading back, getting a couple more picks, hitting some sweet spots with the value with this draft class. But we're just the more and more we hear about it. Jason Licht's not going to turn his phone off or anything. It's not like he's not going to listen to calls, but I think it would be hard to pry number 7 away from this team because they're so high on all 5 of those guys.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, I just want a quick. Just a quick question, a quick answer from you, Trevor, based on I mean, maybe not what you know, but just what you think. Do you think that Jason Licht made the JPP move knowing that Bradley Chubb is a slim chance to be there?
Probably. I think that certainly just the timing had to be right for all of it. I don't think it was a situation where the Giants were like, all right, yeah, let's do the deal. And then Jason was like, let me think about it. So I think it was more he was waiting for the Giants, but I think all along that they have known it would be a very slim chance that Bradley Chubb would get to them. So, the JPP move kind of makes up for that.
Gotcha. Well, Trevor laid it out for you on how to get Saquon Barkley, who plays running back. And in my mock draft, the Bucs do not get Saquon Barkley. So, what does that lead to? That leads to the second round, where, I know everybody wants a corner. Everybody wants a corner. That's all I've been getting DMs all day about. Need a corner. What are you going to do about corner? You can't have Ryan Smith as your corner. There are other ways to get a corner. I still think they like Vernon Hargreaves. Maybe not on the outside as much, but I think he can. I think if he plays well enough in nickel, I think they'll move him back outside maybe. But I also think they'll either sign or draft a corner late. But that's not what I have them doing here. In the second round, I have them picking a running back, and I have them picking Nick Chubb out of Georgia. He wouldn't be my first choice, but I think guys like Darius Geis is going to be long gone.
Yeah.
Sony Michel, I think, is going to go late first round, maybe, and if not late first round, early second round. If Darius Geis even starts to slip past 25, 26, I think Jason Licht should at least give a call to see what the price would be to trade back in. Because I think Geis is a special talent. But, yeah, I don't think Sony Michel is going to be there. It's a bit too high for me to pick Rashad Penny, so I go with Nick Chubb here. Before the injury, he was one of the best running backs in the country. He had a gruesome injury. I know that scares some people off. But, he rebounded well, came back with a really good 2 seasons. And, so Nick Chubb's going to be my guy. What do you think, Trev?
No, yeah, I like the Nick Chubb pick. Nick Chubb ended up being my RB3 this year in my running back ranking, so he's right behind Saquon Barkley and Darius Geis. Darius Geis is my RB1. So I did put him above Sony Michel, but I love both running backs. You're kind of splitting hairs. It's almost a preference. You're getting a great guy no matter what. I just put Chubb at number 3 because he's bigger, he's faster, he's stronger, he's all those things. You talk about the injury. People are like, but he had the ACL injury. Yeah, and he might have lost, I guess, a little, if you want to say that, but the dude is still obviously an athletic freak, and he didn't just come back from injury, all right? The 2 years that he has played since, he's had more than 200 carries in both of those years. Like, those are workhorse years that he has had since the injury. If he gets injured again, it's nothing more than a freak accident that would have happened anyways if he had never gotten hurt. He has proved that he is fully healthy from that knee. I think the Bucs know that. They brought him in for a visit. They like him a lot. And that's the thing, man. Nick Chubb is bigger. He's faster. He's stronger. He can be more reliable in pass protection. I love Sony Michel. I think he's got phenomenal vision. He'd be a great choice as well. I do think that you are right. I think Sony... it's almost. I was almost going to say, I think Sony's going to go first, but really, it's just team preference. It's however teams see it, really. If they like one more than the other, and that's kind of the way that it is in my rankings. And so, I'm with you. I think it's a great pick. The Bucs need a bell cow running back. They cannot do what they did last year, and I know people want a cornerback too. Trust me, I get it. But the cornerback group that they have now, believe it or not, is going to be better just because of the pass rush.
Yep.
And last year we know for a fact the Bucs like Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook was a legitimate option for them at number 19 had O.J. Howard not fallen. So they missed on Dalvin. I think they would have
picked him.
So they missed on Dalvin Cook there just because they ended up selecting O.J. Howard. They missed on Dalvin Cook in the second round because they didn't pull the trigger to go up and get him. Okay, so you just miss him and you just miss his value both times there. Well, then they missed out on who was the guy that they liked?
Kareem Hunt.
Yeah, so they missed out on Kareem Hunt because, hey, two guys that they really liked that they had in for private visits, Chris Godwin, Justin Evans. So, like, those are two guys that they wanted to pick, and they got him at great value. I think they got both those guys at great value. And now all of a sudden you're sitting here, it's the 5th round, you're like, oh, crap, we didn't pick a running back. So that's, I think, something that they cannot afford, especially with no Doug Martin in their back pocket like they had last year. I don't think they can afford to get out of the first 2 picks without picking a running back. So I think that running back is probably going to be the pick at the top of the 2nd round. It makes sense to pick a corner if they do. Feels a need. I get it. It's a fine pick. But if you're asking me, Jameis needs to run help, man. And I like Peyton Barber, but Peyton Barber's not a workhorse. He's a change of pace guy. He's a guy that you kind of bring in as in a rotation. So Nick Chubb can truly be a workhorse for him.
And
I mean,
go ahead.
Go ahead. The only way I pick a corner in round 2, and I like the corners. I love Jair Alexander, but he's going to be gone. I really like Mike Hughes. I think Mike Hughes could be available. I believe in Pewter Report's 7th-round mock draft. Correct me if I'm wrong. That was their 2nd-round pick. That was Scott's
Mike
pick, right?
Hughes was. Yes.
Yeah. I like Hughes, but I just think the only way they draft a corner is if they draft Barkley with 1. Sorry for interrupting you,
No.
Go ahead.
It's okay. In the chat, the page Rookie Scoop on Instagram, he had brought up Isaiah Oliver for round 2. I didn't know if you had touched on him yet or not.
Oliver, I think, is going to be gone. I mean, I think he's a late round guy, or late first, early second guy. Where do you have him projected, Trev?
Who is this? Sorry, you cut out for me.
Isaiah Oliver.
I like Oliver. Oliver does not fit what the Bucs do because he's much more of a longer physical press man corner. His arm length is so freaking long. It's such an asset to him, and he can play it well when being physical, when attacking the ball in the air, when getting to the catch point. I think that Oliver could very well be a late first, early second guy. I think he's probably going to end up going day 2. But he's a pick who it's like, I mean, you like the talent, you like what he can do, but the Bucs haven't shown a willingness to go in that direction at all with like that style of corner. So I don't really know. Like, I don't know how that fits. Mike Smith would have to, and I say this all the time. Mike Smith would have to show something that he hasn't shown in the last 2 years for this guy to be a fit. Not that he wouldn't be a talent, not that he wouldn't be good. But if you're going to draft Isaiah Oliver, you can't just sit there and play him in off coverage. You know, he can't be playing cover 2. Yeah. So that you're just wasting his talent. And that's the same thing with Denzel Ward. People have mocked Denzel Ward to the Bucs at 7. It's like, okay, I like Denzel Ward. Denzel Ward's really good, but the Bucs don't play press man, and they don't play close cover. They don't play bail coverage either. So if you're drafting Denzel, why are you drafting Denzel Ward if you're not even going to use what he's best at? Is kind of the thing. So that's why it's like these are talented players. Not sure they fit with the Bucs. Just because it's Smith's scheme.
Yeah, and I mean I think Jair Alexander fits like a glove.
Oh, perfectly. He's the next coming of Brent Grimes. So
yeah,
I mean he's perfect.
It's a real shame that the Bucs. I think the Bucs really like him. They brought him in for a visit. But I think the only way the Buccaneers end up with him is if they trade down in the first round or trade up back into the first round, which leads me to my next question before I get to my final pick, which is the 4th round. What are your thoughts if Geis starts going, 26, 27, 28? What do you do, Trevor? If you're Jason Light, do you at least give a call?
And if you dip into next year's draft is always worth less than the current one, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're moving up, let's just say like 10 spots to go get Geis, you're likely giving up 2, 4, and 2 next year, at least. So at that point, I just don't think it's plausible. I like Darius Geis. I think he'd be great in a Buccaneer uniform. I think he'd help this offense a lot. But, going back to probabilities and chances of players becoming Buccaneers, it's hard for me to envision a scenario where he does. Because just that would be very uncharacteristic of Jason Licht to give up that many draft picks to move up, just because Jason is such a draft nut. He believes so much in his scouting staff and the work that they put in to get as many guys as they believe in as possible to help this team, not only now but in the future. And so I just can't. In theory, it makes sense, but I can't see the team pulling the trigger on it.
Yeah, I mean, well, the one thing I want to say, speaking of like trades and stuff, I think it's more likely they trade down in the second round than them trading down in the first round. Because I think Jason Licht, I still believe that. I think you might too, Trevor, just because of Light's history. Just like you mentioned earlier, his history. It's not really something he does, trade back into the first, giving up future picks. His history has shown that he likes to he likes to get another third round pick. He likes to get, he did it last year with Kendall Beckwith. Got the second to last pick in the third round, or maybe the last pick in the third round with the Jets, I believe. And then he did it with Ali Marpet. Obviously, then he moved up for him, and then he got, of course, Roberto Aguayo, which was a trade up still. Even though it wasn't the best move, he still traded up. So, I mean, that's 3 straight drafts where Licht has traded up on day 2. And I think with that 4th round pick being right at the top of the 4th round, I think he's going to try to do it again in the 3rd. Do you think that's possible?
Yeah, I mean, I think, like you said, just the evidence to Jason Light's pedigree shows that he likes to be savvy with his movement on day 2. Whether it's trading up, trading back, whatever it is, he likes the guys that he likes, and he likes to go get them on day 2. So I thought they were very happy with the guys that they got on day 2 last year with Chris Godwin and Justin Evans, and obviously it paid off this season. But then, Kendall Beckwith too. That was a guy that they didn't want to miss out on, so they trade up. They go get him. They have a couple of later round picks that, when you get lower into the draft, say like the 3rd round rolls around, some of those lower picks, like a couple of those 6th round picks, could be movement pieces where you're like, okay, well, this was just an extra piece anyways. And now those compensatory picks are tradable. So they're able to do that as well. So they've got quite a few options there if they want to move up, but it all kind of just depends on the price. Early 2nd round, it'd be tough to move up just because I think the value would be tough to get a trade partner for as little as the Bucs might want to give up just to maneuver a little bit. But once we start getting in that 3rd round, they might pick sometime in the 3rd round. You definitely can't count that out with an early 4th round pick, like you said.
Yeah, well, I mean, as we said, Trevor's a busy man. He's got some more podcasts to do tonight, so he's got about a few more minutes left. So I just want to get my 4th round pick in here, get his quick thoughts on it. It's somebody that Pewter Report also had. There you go. It's somebody that Pewter Report also had in their mock draft, I believe in the 5th round. But in the 4th round, I'm going to select Alex Kappa, offensive tackle from Humboldt State or something like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Alex Kappa, he's got great hair. I'm sure Trevor appreciates the hair.
Is that the top of your draft notes?
No, absolutely. We got to, if he makes it to Tampa Bay, we got to talk about it. We got to style it a little bit better. But he's got the length, he's got the commitment, so it's good. No, I do. I agree with you there. I think that 4th round pick or that 3rd round pick, whichever one it's going to be, whether they move up or not, definitely a sweet spot for a trench player. Certainly, if they're not able to get one earlier in the draft. PJ Hall's a guy that they've talked about. Obviously, Alex Kappa's another one, and there are a couple other guys that I'm sure they're on their radar that they like to pick, but. It's hard for me to see the Bucs getting out of the top 100 without at least one trench player, whether it be an offensive lineman or a defensive lineman. And so Kappa's a guy who we know the Bucs aren't. They're not afraid to dip into that small school market. We've seen that with guys like Ali Marpet, certainly, and it's paid off big time. Not that I think that Kappa is quite the talent that Marpet was, but we're just seeing that the Bucs don't have any problem rolling the dice there with smaller school guys and being able to coach them up, get them to where they need to an NFL level. And Kappa's got a lot of good tape. Obviously, it's lesser competition, but there's a lot of things to like there. So I think it's a solid pick, and I think there's a good chance that something like that happens.
All right. Well, Trevor, if you got to go, head out, man. If you appreciate the time, for sure. I mean, you're the draft guy, so I mean, we know you're busy. Guys, if you're not paying attention, you got to head over to Pewter Report. My fan page, Bucks Football, of course, partners. It's a great site. It's they constant coverage. Just put out their final 7-round mock. Trevor, do you got any stuff coming out before the draft here?
Yeah, well, on Wednesday, we're going to have my Cover 3's coming out on Wednesday this week, and it is going to be a doozy for the NFL draft fans. I'm releasing my entire positional rankings, quarterback all the way down to safety, as well as my big board that day. So that's the day before the draft. So yeah, be sure on the lookout for that. No, it was great joining you guys again. I love these podcasts. I love to get together with you guys. You talk a lot of good football. So no, thank you for having me. Truly.
Thank you for coming on, man. Appreciate it a lot. Hope to hear from you soon. And really quick before you go, if you want to drop your Twitter and Instagram handles or wherever the people can find you and follow you.
Sure, yeah, no, Twitter, best place to talk to me, interact. I love, no matter what it is, just talking football, at Tampa Bay Trey, TRE, and then, of course, at Pewter Report. I run the account over there. I'll probably be doing that this weekend as well. So, all right, guys, thanks.
Thank you, man.
See ya, man.
Glad to hear from you. Alrighty, guys, so we made it through the mock draft, and now is the time where we had promised before we're going to address the chat. So we got a good amount of people watching, and thank you to everyone tuning in. We haven't done this in a while, and I'm really glad it's been working out so far. Yeah, I mean, it's been good, Evan. It's been good, man.
Yeah, the Wi-Fi's been cooperating with us.
Oh, my God, the bill was paid this time, so it's not going to shut off on us here in a couple of seconds, but we've got 12 people watching now. So we're going to open up the floor to you guys and pretty much talk about what you guys want to talk about. The Dank Bank said, hey, what's going on, man? Hope you stick around and enjoy. Dank Bank said, I think Rashawn Penny is the pick. What about you? We had kind of addressed that a little bit earlier, and I assume he's talking second round, but if you wanted to jump into more depth, I mean, if you feel like you didn't justify it, Evan, that's totally your call. But I'm still Chubb second round.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that Nick Chubb is the right choice. Because like I said, I think it's a bit too early for Rashad Penny to go. Rashad Penny's a good back. I love Rashad Penny, but I just think if they were to pick Penny, I think it would be a trade down in the second, maybe trade down 5, 6, 7 picks. Maybe try to pick up an extra fourth, an extra third, maybe.
Extra third wouldn't hurt, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, it all depends on how far you're dropping. Like, if you're dropping 8, 9 picks, you're probably going to get an extra third. But if you're only dropping 3, 4 picks, it's probably a fourth. But that fourth could help you move back into the third. So you never really know. But I think Nick Chubb is what the team needs.
Now,
I mean, I think it's a good fit, basically.
Now, back to the chat. Fade Ennis had said. He said, Nick Chubb is who we wanted Doug Martin to be. And let me stop you right there, okay? We had just finished talking about how Nick Chubb is a bigger, stronger back. I wish I had the picture queued up now, and I'm really glad I got it because it was cool meeting him and things like that. But I have a picture of myself and Doug Martin. And I am not that tall in certain standards. I'm about 6 foot on a good day, and I was towering over Doug Martin. I don't know if that's the comparison to make. I see where you're going with that, but I just had to shut you down really quick. Somebody else had said, what's going on with Julio Jones? Honestly, man, it could have just, for all we know, he could have gotten sent home from practice early, and he's having an attitude about it. We have no idea. I really haven't heard anyone say anything else about it. He did, if you guys hadn't heard, he did make his account private. I think he's done that since we last talked about it. He deleted all of his Falcon-related photos and tweets, except for his profile picture, and I think he unfollowed everyone from the Falcons organization. And if he does go anywhere like New England, then it's going to make two of those games a hell of a lot easier for us this year. So let's cross our fingers here and kind of hope he lands somewhere else. Anyways,
yeah, I mean Jordan Howard did the same thing, so and he's not going. So.
Dalton, what's going on, man? He said, still much love for Doug. Yeah, you can't help but not appreciate Doug Martin, at least a little bit. He did make a name for himself a couple of years. He was, he said he was a quality buck for a good amount of time. And I had brought it up a while ago. I had posted something about it on Cannon Fire Podcast. You can follow us on Instagram at Cannon Fire Podcast. It's our live stream, so that shameless plug has to get in there somewhere. I had posted about it not too long ago, a couple of months ago, and it's really the unfortunate truth about Doug Martin because he's not a bad player. And I'm really hoping to see him succeed in Oakland now. I hope he gets a chance to at least make some moves over there and does some great things because he has the potential to do it, as we have seen before. But I just really don't think I don't think the Bucs was where he was destined to work out because it didn't really work out most of the time he was here. He's got the talent to do it. I don't believe he's a lazy player. I don't believe he's trash. I just don't think Tampa was the place for him to finish his career. But you got to appreciate the Muscle Hamster for a couple of things, and he's definitely still in the record books as a Buck, so we can appreciate that. Brent Grimes rumors are... Let me see. Brent Grimes rumors are he's going to retire next year. What are your thoughts? I wouldn't surprise me if he retired next year. I mean, Evan, how do you feel about Brent Grimes and where he is?
I mean, I thought he was going to retire this year. So, I mean, I would be pretty shocked if he didn't retire next year. Which is, it's worrisome because I think the Buccaneers need to find a cornerback. Does that come this I was about to say off season, but
in the draft?
I mean, yeah, does it come in the draft? Possibly. I mean, it's going to be interesting for sure. It's really going to be interesting to see what transpires and how they plan on upgrading that position. So I mean, time will tell, I guess you could say, and yeah, we are going to see come Thursday and Friday.
If he keeps taking care of himself and Nico keeps feeding him, then I think he could play 3 more years.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, if we're all looking for his play to decline. We're hoping it doesn't happen, but you're always weary of it because, I mean, he's 34, I believe, maybe 35 years old. I mean, come on, like that's ridiculous. Like, you shouldn't be playing at this kind of level when you're this old, especially not like that athletic ability. But hey, I mean, keeps doing it. So I'm not gonna sit here and complain about it. That's definitely not it. But
you know what I think is gonna.
I do think Brent Grimes retires, unfortunately. Yeah.
You know what I think is actually gonna happen. I think he's gonna announce his retirement next year, but he's still gonna be under contract with the Bucs. It's gonna be a very, very low-paying contract. They're gonna freeze him until they get to the Super Bowl, and then a week before the Super Bowl, they thaw him out, and he goes out there and is the Super Bowl MVP as the Buccaneers win the Super Bowl in 2020.
Oh, okay. So sort of like an Austin Powers type deal. Like they just freeze him.
Yeah, he comes back in 20 years. He's just in his prime again. He goes out there and has 2 picks.
Okay, and it leads to the Super Bowl win. I'll take it.
2 picks against Tom Brady, who was also frozen.
Oh, okay. That makes more sense because Brady's older than Grimes.
It's a good movie plot. I like it. I really do like it.
Hey, yeah. Do you wanna get with the studio? Maybe we can start something up here. I mean, if we could get characters inspired by them, I think it'd be pretty tough to get both of them. But yeah, we'll definitely see.
I didn't mean to keep cutting you off, man. It was just a joke that should have ended a couple of minutes ago. But you've got the floor now. I apologize.
Oh no, it's no big deal. I mean, yeah, I think Grimes retires. I think they got to get a plan on what to do. They really do.
Yeah, right now it is.
They got nobody. Like I said, I mean, they do like Vernon Hargreaves. They do. They think that Vernon Hargreaves is going to have a better year. I think Vernon Hargreaves is going to have a better year.
If they didn't like him, he would still be here.
No. Is he going to be your number 1 corner? No. I just can't see a world where he is going to be our number 1 cornerback. So I think I think the Buccaneers end up drafting a corner at some point this in the draft on probably day 3. Maybe they trade back in day 2 for a corner in the 3rd round. Maybe. I think they might, if they don't address corner, like let's say they pick a corner in the 6th round. I think they still could bring back Robert McClain. So I think if you have Grimes and McClain on the outside, that's good enough. And with Hargreaves and a nickel, and just like Trevor said, with the better pass rush, the pass rush is already better. JPP,
Mitch
JPP,
Unrein, Vinny
Curry, Mitch Unrein, Bo Allen. I mean, the pass rush is already better. So, I mean, you know, with better pass rush, with better pass rush, it can, you know, I'm going to keep saying it. It makes your corners very much better. You know, if your cornerback's bad, it'll make them look average. If your cornerback's average, it'll make them look good because, you know, a worst thing a quarterback hates is not having any time. He makes the wrong decision, and it's a bad decision. So it can really cover up. So I think the secondary is going to be better because, I mean, those two play hand in hand. Yeah, so I mean, we will see.
Now, something else.
It's definitely going to be interesting.
Something else someone had asked in the chat was if Joshua Jackson were to fall to the 26 to 32 range, would you guys want to trade up or even round 2? I'm just going to say if he falls to round 2, would that be a realistic pick? Because Trevor had brought it up before he left. It's going to take a lot for the Bucs to trade up, and I really don't think that 26 to 32 range for Joshua Jackson is going to be enough for them to want to make that jump, especially when you have guys available that we already have potential of getting. But Evan, what do you think? Josh Jackson falls round 2. Do you think he's a realistic possibility?
Well, I mean, if he falls round 2, I think somebody scoops him up right away. I don't see a way that Josh Jackson is going to be there for the Buccaneers in the 2nd round. I mean, if he is, I think he should be the pick, no matter what, because I think he's good. I don't think he's not my number 1 corner, but he's definitely. I mean, if you can get him in the 2nd round, I think that's ridiculous. But I think he's a mid first, late first kind of guy. So if you can get him in the 2nd round. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked, but I just don't see it happening. I mean, you know, but Josh Jackson fits exactly what the Buccaneers like to do. That is exactly the same kind of scheme and everything, and the height and size. It's a perfect match. Him and Jair Alexander are the 2 best fits for the Buccaneers at the corner position. So I mean. Time will tell. That's all I can say. You know, with Dalvin Cook last year, there is somebody who always falls. They did try to get Cook, or they were unsuccessful. Maybe they tried to do it again with Jackson. I don't see it, but I wouldn't put it past them.
So we'll just have to wait and see what happens. As you guys know, the draft is a couple of days away, and anything can really happen. And jumping back to the live chat, our buddy Dalton said it's always good to hear you guys getting excited for some football. Can't wait for the tailgates and to rack up some wins. Go Bucks. We need to get our mojo back. Yeah, man, we do, and I think this is the year to do it. When it comes to building our mojo, you're already halfway there when you bring in guys like JPP, Vinny Curry. It's one of those things too that I hate to say that I forget about it, but about an hour before the show started, I was thinking about points we could talk about. I said, oh, we've got Vinny Curry because I had seen that picture he had posted with Quan a couple of hours ago. And then I really thought about it, and I was like, oh, we have Vinny Curry, and we have JPP, and we have Gerald McCoy. So I'd like to believe that we're on the right track to getting our mojo back. We are just going to have to wait and see as anything else in the NFL, but I'm very, very excited and glad to hear from you, man. Hopefully we get together soon at some of the tailgates coming up with our friends at What the Buck. I know for a fact I will be at the Monday night game against Pittsburgh, but But I haven't really looked at the schedule and seen any other games that I've been thinking about. So it might be another season where we play it by ear. But I'm definitely going to do better than I did last year because I only had 2 games last year. I'm going to try and hit maybe 4 this year.
And I will be Week 10 versus the Washington Redskins.
Might be the game I go to then. Won't have to deal with Kirk Cousins coming in and beating us in our own house, huh? You like that?
You like that?
You like that? I don't. I don't.
Yeah, I actually don't. Thanks a lot, though, Kirk.
Oh, God, I remember being so upset that game. I was so disappointed.
Yeah, it was rough. 24-0. You lose 31-30, I believe.
It's a point away. We did it before the Falcons did it.
Yep.
We did it before the Falcons. It was a 1-point difference. It wasn't a 25-point lead. It was a 24, but good God. Let's hope nobody remembers that because I haven't heard anyone talk about that.
And then all the Falcons fans and stuff were like, well, in Washington or whatever, when like they say like, oh, Bucs fans say 25-point lead, they said, well, you guys were up 24-0 against the Redskins, and look what Jameis did. Jameis blew that, and they were like, yeah, but Jameis has never blown a 25-point lead.
Oh man, it was.
He blew it. They blew a 24-point lead. Jameis has never blown a 25-point lead.
C3 Church said, I'll be there for the Skins and Niners. Awesome, man. Hope to see you there.
Sweet.
I wouldn't mind going and checking out the Niners game. I want to see Jimmy G. He's going to be a superstar this year. I mean, if he comes into Tampa and he balls out, I'll be happy because he's probably one of my favorite quarterbacks.
Well, hopefully he doesn't act like a superstar on that particular Sunday.
Oh, I know. But if he does, I won't be that disappointed.
John Lynch finally coming back, of course, right?
Oh,
His
yeah.
team, right?
Oh, yeah. That is going to be a nice ovation for John Lynch because I haven't really seen him. I mean, obviously he hasn't been there. He's been in San Francisco, but haven't really seen him show his face too much around the Bucs.
I was at his Ring of Honor game. Yeah, I was there at his Ring of Honor game versus the Falcons Thursday night 2 years ago when they just got absolutely destroyed. But Mike Evans made that one-handed catch.
I was gonna say, was that the catch? The catch game?
Yep, it was. I remember it like it was yesterday. Yeah, I mean, I remember the exact angle I had of it, the exact view. I remember I was just sitting in my seat, just so bored because there was nothing happening. It was like 40 to like 17 or something.
Yeah.
And then I just remember just sitting there and seeing it. I jumped out of my seat. I was like, holy crap. And at first I didn't think he caught it. And then I looked at the replay. I was like, oh my God.
Now, this is one more question we will address before we have to wrap up the show here. It's been awesome. I'm really, really glad you guys can stream. And really quick before we field this question, Evan, if you don't mind and technology permits, I wouldn't mind going live every week.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, man.
It's something to think about, guys, but thank you to everyone who joined us tonight. Now, our last question comes from, I want to say Mirna Gonzalez. I apologize if I butchered that. But the question is, what about the offensive line? Because the only reason Doug Martin ran for 1,300 yards was because Logan Mankins was there. Right is an experiment that is not working. Right.
Maybe I don't know. Maybe they're talking about right guard.
Maybe, but I think one of the biggest defenses I can come to that when it comes to drafting a running back second round. I don't even know.
The offensive line's better.
I would like to say that the offensive line is better. Yes, I was gonna bring that up. You have a quality center in Ryan. You have a quality center in Ryan Jensen, who was just brought up. He is a dog, and he will block as long as you need him to. So you got Ryan Jensen coming in. You got Ali Marpet moving back to guard. He's not in his original guard location, but it's same difference. He'll have to learn that a little bit, but he is a quality natural guard. And
Donovan Smith.
Right now, it's not working. Okay, that's what I meant. Like right now, the running game isn't working.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, definitely. I mean, but
you also look at what we were dealing with last year. We were dealing with Doug Martin at 65%. And a rotational backfield of second-string guys,
and rotational linemen. They rotated offensive linemen. I don't understand. With a position, a unit that needs chemistry, why you rotate your guards. I will never figure that out. But I mean, yeah, I mean, you got Dotson, you got Smith, you got Jensen, got Marpet, obviously, and this Thursday you can still add Quentin Nelson. So, yeah, I think the offensive line is going to be just fine.
I'd like to believe that we're going to be just fine, running our way into the playoffs. But ladies and gentlemen, that's just about going to do it for this edition of the Cannon Fire Podcast. I know I've said it multiple times throughout the show, but I'm really glad this worked out because I'll be honest, I had my doubts that this was gonna work. I thought we were gonna come on here and the show was gonna buffer and nobody would be able to hear us and nobody would watch it, and we would record a whole show and have no material for it because it wouldn't be the first time that's happened to us.
Yeah.
It's been a couple of years since it happened, but it wouldn't be the first time.
Yep, I mean, definitely.
But thank you guys again, anyone who stopped by to check us out. Thank you to everyone who was able to subscribe. And if you followed us on Instagram, thank you very much as well. When we started the stream, I think we had 134 subs. Last I checked, we're at 139. So a +5 is a win in my book. I enjoyed this. See y'all next time. New sub, go Bucks. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate that very much. Way to end on a high note. Hope to hear from you soon. Also, if you guys haven't, make sure you follow Evan on Instagram at BucksFootball, the #1 Bucks fan page on Instagram. Have you broken 18,000 yet? I know I asked this question.
No, not yet. Not yet. Hoping to do that. By this summer. We'll see. We got a long way to go, though. We're at 17.4. But I mean, with the draft and stuff, we're gonna keep getting exposure, and hopefully by the season, but we'll have over 18K. That's the goal, and I'm hoping by the end of the year we'll have 20K. So I might be doing something special for 20K, maybe a giveaway or something like that. So just there's rewards for you guys, supporting me and following me through ups and downs of the team. And I know it's tough, but it's just good that you guys are sticking with it and sticking with the Bucks and sticking with my page. I really, really appreciate it. So
we'll have to talk about that giveaway after the show to make sure that I win. But thank you guys so much for listening.
Wow.
And also, if you haven't already, go check out our partners and go check out basically who our boy Trevor works for. Check him out at Pewter Report. You can check them out at pewterreport.com. They're also on social media at Pewter Report. And make sure you keep in touch with Trevor, Scott, and Mark. We got to bring Mark on the show again sometime soon. We got to get Scott on here too because we haven't had him.
Oh yeah, gotta get Scott. We've never had Scott on here. Yeah,
it's almost been a full year since we had Mark on. We had him for I think the training camp special.
Over 2 years. I mean, dude, that was when Aguayo was having his struggles his rookie year.
No, it wasn't 2 because we had him on the show before.
Yes, it was. Yes, no, it was not. Dude, we still had another sports podcast. That was another sports podcast.
He's been on the Cannon Fire podcast, though, and I'm going to bring it up right now.
No, he has not.
Yes, he has. We're going to solve this right now.
He has not. He has not.
We're going to solve this right now. We're going back. Season predictions, Q&A live stream for the fans. We had Derek Fournier on this year. Bye-bye, Aguayo.
Yeah, that's not Mark Cook.
Training camp preview.
That's in 2016, I'm telling you.
Oh, man. Okay. All right. I'll admit that I'm wrong.
Oh.
I'll admit that I'm wrong.
Well,
I'm glad everyone got to see that.
They give away to somebody else, though.
Oh, man. Alrighty. Thank you guys for all stopping by. Glad we can answer some questions and hang out with you guys very much. Make sure you go follow our partners at Pewter Report. Make sure you follow the page Cannon Fire Podcast on Instagram. And make sure you follow Evan at Bucks Football. Remember, guys, the Eagles suck, and the Bucks do not. We're coming for that W week 2. I'm excited for it. You should be too. We'll see you guys next time.